Okay, so this portion of the video we're going to install Git. Git is our source control. So this is how we're going to retrieve our sub software, and whenever we make changes, we're going to push it up for everyone else to be able to access it as well. It'll probably make more sense once we start actually editing the code or creating code. So for now, let's go ahead and go to Google and do Git downloads. And the first link should take you here. I have a Windows machine, so I'm going to go here. And I have a 64-bit. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And it went ahead and saved it down here. So I'm going to do a save as. Might have it here already. Yep, I do. So I'll just do a 1. That should be fairly quick. So, still in the process of downloading. Should be this one. See, partial download. Okay, great. I'm gonna go ahead and delete the old one. Not that it really matters that much. So once this is done downloading, we're gonna double click on it. I'm gonna say yes. Next. Yes, the default is fine. And there's another reason why I think you should download Notepad++. You can use it as the default editor for Git. That's just my preference. So I use Notepad++. Next, go ahead and use Git from the command line and also from third-party software. This will allow you to use Git commands when we're using Cygwin. That way we don't have to use a different terminal every time we want to push or pull code. Okay, so we're going to hit next. Yes, use the OpenSSL library. We're going to hit next. Yes, Windows style commit Unix style line endings. Next. And then use Minty. Next. And the defaults are also fine. So we're going to go ahead and install. Okay, well, mine gave me an error probably because I already had it installed. And maybe I didn't uninstall it properly. So while it's installing, we should go to the Desert Wave GitLab URL. So Desert Wave, it's probably best if we go to here to Slack and we go to the repo. Or the repository. Let's try that again. Here we go. Have to sign in. Okay, perfect. Except we're not in Vision. Just go back to the Desert Wave one and you'll see these 3 libraries. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and launch Git Bash. So finish. Perfect. All right. So now what we need to do is we need to go ahead and clone our repository. So that's why we needed this this link here. So we're going to go ahead and clone sub software. So the interesting thing about private repos is that we have to insert our usernames into the URLs or else it won't clone. So give me 1 second. I'm going to clear my SSH key. So hold on for 1 second. Okay. So I went ahead and deleted my SSH key because that is one of the first things we need to do. So an SSH key basically allows you to have a private connection between your computer, your terminal, and GitLab. So what you're going to go ahead and do, this is where I was right before. I was here. So if you drop down and go to your settings, on the left hand side you'll see SSH keys. Go ahead and open that up. So we're going to go ahead and paste our SSH key in here, but first we have to generate it. So I found this useful instruction on how to generate it. So you should have your git bash open. So we're going to go ahead and insert this command. So I'm going to go ahead and copy it over here. I'm going to right click, paste, and instead of example.com, I'm going to use my own email. Okay, and hit enter. So it says generating public private key. Enter the file in which to save the key. I just press enter, the default, and it says this already exists. Do you want to overwrite? And I'm going to say yes. Yours might not ask you. I had just already installed this. So enter passphrase. You can just hit enter, or you can add a passphrase if you want. Okay. So once you get down to this point, you're going to go ahead and we have to go ahead and open this file. So let me see. Quick access. No, the SSH key didn't show up. Okay, so the next thing we're going to go ahead and enter into our terminal is this right here. So this is going to go ahead and find the file for us. So I'm going to right click, paste. Alrighty, so what that actually did was copied our key to our clipboard. So now I can paste it into here. Okay, that is definitely not my my SSH key. Okay, you probably shouldn't see that. I'll just go ahead and add key. Okay, so once you go ahead and add it here, you pretty much have that set up. You now have the private key on your computer, public key out on the internet. So now your connection should be private and you should be able to access the repository. Alrighty, so the next step now is to be able to clone our repository. So what we're going to go ahead and do is run git clone, and then we need the URL. Not that one, not that one. Here, Desert Wave sub software. Here. Except that what we're going to go ahead and do is add in our username so they know who is requesting at gitlab.com. Yours should be your own name, and it would be Desert Wave and then sub software.git. Okay, and then it's going to go ahead and ask you for your credentials. They're your GitLab credentials. Okay. Alrighty. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to SiteGwin. And I'm going to go to where I installed it in my root, and you did as well if you followed my steps. Like I said, you don't have a D drive unless you have a hard drive, so then do just log into your C drive. We're going to do an LS, And now you should be able to see the sub software, which is definitely not here. Oh, jeez. Okay, so there was one tiny thing that we needed to do before this, is to navigate to the directory we want to put our sub software in. So I want it in my D drive. So now if I ls, I'll see everything in my D drive. So now I'm gonna go ahead and run this. And this will create a new directory, a new folder inside of my D drive. So yours won't be D, like I said, yours will be C drive. Okay, so it's going to clone all of that. Cool, so I opened up my Cygwin over here. So I'm going to go ahead and, so this is before there was no sub software here, but now that we just extracted it, I'm going to do an ls, and now we should be able to see sub software. Okay, so now if I cd into sub software by ls, now we're able to see all these files that are in this repo. Okay, so that's the first step. So we might run into some issues right now if we were to try to compile this, just because we would get like line ending issues. Linux and Windows use different line endings. So what we have to do is to fix those line endings. So what we're going to do is a git config -- global, and then we're going to do core.autocrlf, and then space input. So that should correct our line endings. And what we're going to go ahead and do now is actually delete our sub software folder. It doesn't compile if we just run that once. Unfortunately, we have to delete it and then re-clone it. Okay, so now it's deleted. So if I move back to my D drive, now it's gone. It's no longer here. So I'm just going to re-clone it. Okay, your commands, if you click the up arrow, oh, we didn't clone it from here. We cloned it from our git bash. Here we go. If you click up, your command is still there. So we're going to clone it. Okay, so it's done. So now if I ls, now we'll see sub software show up again. So we're going to go ahead and ls. Great. Cool. So this completes the Git portion. And then we're going to go ahead and move on to downloading Apache Ant in the next video.